Today, we're taking a quick look at 3 of the strongest builds you can run in Aion 2. First up is the Gladiator, a durable melee bruiser with powerful AoE and crowd control, which is perfect for players who want to lead the charge. Next is the Assassin, a fast, stealthy burst DPS class that excels at picking off targets before they react. And finally, the Sorcerer, a long-range glass cannon with massive damage and battlefield-controlling skills. No matter if you like frontline action, stealthy takedowns, or explosive magic, one of these builds will fit your playstyle perfectly for both PVE and PvP. And then, just before we start, if you're planning to play Aion 2 on Korean servers, then let me introduce you to Gear Up Booster. No matter how strong your class is, lag can ruin your PVE raids or PvP battles, and that's where Gear Up Booster comes in. It helps to optimize your connection, reduce latency, and stabilize ping across global servers. As you can see from the ping comparison test, the difference before and after using Gear Up is massive. Players from multiple regions experience dramatically lower and more stable ping. This means smoother gameplay, fewer spikes, and way more consistent performance. Using intelligent route optimization, Gear Up ensures smooth gameplay for Aion 2 by minimizing packet loss and spikes. So all you need to do is sign up through their website, then download the software. Then when you have Gear Up on your computer, just log in, choose the game that you want to play. For us it's Aion 2, then select your server region, and then click Boost. And that's it. Now you can enjoy whatever game you want to play with the best possible connection and FPS. Also, Gear Up Booster offers cross-region acceleration, so you can switch between servers effortlessly. And as recently players from US and other countries haven't been able to play the game, so this will fix all of that. If you're serious about climbing PvP ranks or clearing raids without issues, then this is the ultimate tool to enhance your Aion 2 performance, not only for PC, but also mobile. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in description to check them out, and use my code KAIDGAMES for 1-day free trial. Don't miss this opportunity to make your gaming lag free and enjoy the game to the fullest. This setup excels in burst damage, mobility, and sustained DPS through careful skill chaining and lifesteal. Unlike tankier or range-heavy classes, the Assassin thrives on constant movement and high-tempo combat, which makes positioning, timing, and rotation management crucial. This build is designed for hybrid PvX use, meaning it performs well in both PvE and PvP scenarios, with a focus on maximizing damage output while maintaining survivability. In solo play, Assassins can quickly clear mobs and deal with bosses efficiently, relying on Quick Slash to restore health and mana while applying consistent pressure. In group PvE content, the Assassin's mobility allows for easy repositioning, interrupting dangerous mechanics, and maximizing DPS uptime. So let's take a look at our active skills, which provide both your offensive power and sustained mechanics. Quick Slash is the central skill, acting as both a filler and a sustain tool. At level 10 with enhancements, Quick Slash delivers fast, multi-hit attacks that can strike up to 4 enemies, dealing roughly 670 damage per hit. The lifesteal and mana absorption make it invaluable in prolonged encounters, ensuring that you rarely run out of resources while maintaining high DPS. Enhancements focus on improving mana recovery, increasing lifesteal efficiency, enhancing multi-hit performance, and reducing cooldowns, which allows the skill to be used frequently in rotation. Our other active skills are organized into several categories based on their function. First are the high damage single target slashes, which form the backbone of your burst combos. These skills are crucial for dealing massive damage to bosses or priority targets in PvP, often acting as finishers once a target is sufficiently weakened. Second, gap closers and movement skills enable the Assassin to reach enemies quickly, avoid dangerous mechanics, and maintain uptime on high-value targets. Skills like Shadow Step or Backflip Slash allow for repositioning mid-combo, which is essential for a class that thrives in close range. Third are the shadow or dark-themed skills, which typically apply debuffs or damage over time effects, amplifying your burst potential when combined with single-target finishers. Fourth, AoE spin or cleave attacks allow for efficient mob clearing and sustained DPS across multiple targets, which is especially useful in dungeon grinding or open-world farming. Finally, high-level finishing skills, usually from level 11 to 12, provide the strongest burst damage, and their optimal use depends on chaining combo points and exploiting debuffs applied by earlier attacks. Our skill rotation emphasizes easy access to mobility, burst, and AoE skills, highlighting the assassin's reliance on smooth and continuous skill chaining. A successful rotation requires combining movement skills between offensive abilities to minimize downtime, maintaining pressure while staying safe from enemy retaliation, and carefully timing high damage finishers to coincide with debuff windows or critical positioning moments. Then now, let's take a look at our gear. A top-tier weapon like the Liberator Dagger provides both strong base attack and secondary stats that support a burst-focused playstyle. Its key attributes include attack power between 172 and 221, with an additional 80 points from enhancements, along with critical hit and accuracy bonuses, and a 100% spirit restoration rate, which synergizes with lifesteal and resource management. Empty mana stone slots allow further customization with attack, crit, or penetration stones, which can dramatically enhance damage output. Accessories and armor should follow similar principles, emphasizing crit, penetration, and attack power, while also incorporating evasion or minor defensive stats for survivability. Full gear sets are particularly effective, providing set bonuses that further enhance critical hit rates, mobility, or penetration, which creates a strong synergy that complements both rotation and Diavanian enhancements. For our gear stat priorities, we want to begin with attack power, as this amplifies every hit, particularly multi-hit abilities like Quick Slash. Next, we have Divanian Board, which is one of the defining features of the Assassin build. Each skill can be enhanced to increase damage, reduce cooldowns, add multi-hit potential, boost lifesteal, or apply additional effects on hit. The way I approach the board isn't by checking every node. It's guided by a clear mentality. Prioritize best-in-slot damage skills first, then stack in cooldown reduction, crit, and sustain. Quick Slash remains the cornerstone of this build, so its Divanian upgrades come first. These upgrades improve its damage, lifesteal, and multi-hit capability, making it a reliable sustain and DPS tool throughout combat. From there, I focus on AoE skills like Crescent Spin. Enhancements here increase radius and animation speed, smoothing rotations and improving efficiency against multiple targets. High damage finishers receive priority upgrades for crit and penetration, maximizing burst potential against priority targets, while mobility skills such as Shadow Step get improvements that boost movement speed, dashes, and evasion, which significantly enhances uptime and survivability. My guiding principle is simple. Every path I take on the board should either strengthen a core skill or provide meaningful stats like crit, attack, or cooldown reduction. Secondary nodes that increase lifesteal or evasion are picked strategically to maintain uptime without sacrificing offensive power. And finally, let's see how to actually play this build. We want to begin fights with gap closers to reach the target quickly, followed by Quick Slash to start sustaining health and mana while applying initial damage. High-level burst skills like Red Flame Lunge, Dual Blade Thrust, and Roaring Rage Howl are chained next, timed with debuffs and positioning to maximize damage output. AoE skills like Crescent Spin are used to manage multiple enemies efficiently, combining in mobility skills to dodge incoming attacks or reposition between mobs. Finishers are reserved for low health targets or enemies affected by debuffs, which ensures that the assassin's strongest abilities hit at maximum efficiency. Also, cooldown management is critical. Combining mobility between offensive skills minimizes downtime, allows the assassin to maintain a high tempo and aggressive playstyle. By combining continuous multi-hit attacks, lifesteal, sustain, and precise execution of high damage finishers, this rotation maximizes both survival and DPS potential across solo, group, and PvP fights. The core philosophy of this build is simple. Create constant pressure using stagger, mobility, and burst windows, while maintaining survivability through lifesteal, counter mechanics, and efficient cooldown usage. Rather than relying on one single huge cooldown, Gladiator shines when you rotate aggressively, so control positioning and punish opponents the moment they become vulnerable. Every skill, passive, gear piece, stat allocation, and Divanian choice in this build is focused on amplifying your burst, increasing crit reliability, and letting you stay in the fight longer than your enemies can handle. Let's take a look at our active skills, where the Gladiator's identity truly comes alive. Your kit revolves around stagger and knockdown windows, and every major damage skill becomes significantly stronger when the target is off balance or on the ground. The first and most important skill is Overhead Slam. At higher levels, this is your single strongest finisher, capable of hitting multiple enemies if you choose the AoE specialty. This skill becomes your main burst tool once the targets are knocked down, which allows you to deal devastating damage during their most vulnerable moment. Next is Crushing Wave, one of the best sustained skills in the entire Gladiator toolkit. Crushing Wave hits multiple times and restores your HP with each hit. Whether you're surrounded by mobs or fighting a single target, this skill keeps you alive and maintains heavy stagger pressure. Enhancements for Crushing Wave should focus on improving its healing, stagger power, and attack speed by letting you chain it seamlessly into your other abilities. Your cleave and sustained DPS come from Sword Aura Rampage, which is a channeled multi-hit skill that deals consistent damage and regenerates your health. In PvE, it allows you to clear rooms of enemies with ease, while in PvP it becomes a powerful zoning tool, forcing players out of melee range or punishing anyone who overcommits. Your main engage tools are Leaping Strike and Ruinous Blow. Leaping Strike closes the gap, while Ruinous Blow opens your main burst window by granting Prepare for Battle, which is a buff that boosts damage and guarantees critical hits. With specialty upgrades, Ruinous Blow gains extended range, letting you chase fleeing players or secure kills more easily. Your primary crowd control skill is Mocking Blade, which strikes twice and knocks the target down by setting up your overhead slam finisher. In PvP, landing Mocking Blade is often the difference between winning and losing an encounter. Combine it with movement-based skills like Rending Blow. I run this with the mobile specialty, so you can move while attacking, and this gives us full control during melee skirmishes. Your gear setup is the foundation of your Gladiator's power. Aion 2 heavily favors stats gained through soul binding, meaning a lower rarity piece with the right stats can outperform a higher rarity piece with weak rolls. For Gladiator, your primary gear stats should always be critical hit, attack, accuracy, and skill level bonuses. On accessories like rings and bracelets, crit is king. If you can't roll crit, go for accuracy, which is crucial for landing stagger and knockdown skills against evasive opponents. Necklaces and belts should ideally roll flat attack, crit damage, or weapon scaling stats, improving your burst across the board. Armor pieces should ideally provide attack, crit damage, and skill level bonuses. For example, boots that provide +1 to counterattack or +1 to destructive impulse are far more valuable than flat defense, or HP. Your chest and gloves should prioritize crit damage and attack, as these directly scale your entire rotation. Your combat speed and penetration come heavily from runes, so upgrading combat speed runes is essential for PvP, allowing you to attack faster and maintain pressure even against mobile opponents. Penetration runes help bypass enemy defenses and improve performance against high armor targets. Now, let's talk about Divanian board, which is one of the most important aspects of optimizing your Gladiator. Instead of trying to fill out every single node, I follow a strict priority system. Always go towards damage nodes, cooldown reduction, crit-related bonuses, and skill level enhancements for your core abilities. Skills that get top priority on the Divanian board include Crushing Wave, Sword Aura Rampage, Mocking Blade, Overhead Slam, Rending Blow, Ruinous Blow, and Ankle Slice. These skills form the backbone of your burst windows, sustain, and stagger control, so any node that boosts them by reducing their cooldowns or increases their damage is worth taking immediately. Several boards repeat bonuses for Crushing Wave, Overhead Slam, and Sword Aura, so take every one of these nodes. The more levels you stack, the harder your build scales into endgame. I also pick up crit damage tolerance and stagger resistance nodes to survive PvP burst, along with movement and attack speed nodes to improve mobility and fluidity. The guiding principle is simple: damage first, skill level second, cooldowns third, and sustain and defense fourth. And finally, let's see how to actually play this build. Gladiator's rotation focuses on controlling the fight, creating stagger or knockdown windows, and unleashing your strongest skills during those windows. You begin fights with Leaping Strike to close the gap, immediately chaining into Ruinous Blow to trigger Prepare for Battle and gain your guaranteed crit buff. From here, you transition into Mocking Blade to knock them down, which sets up your main burst. While they're on the ground, you use Overhead Slam, which is your biggest finisher. Follow that immediately with Aerial Snare, repositioning behind them if possible to secure back crits. Depending on the situation, combine in Crushing Wave for sustain, or start your AoE pressure with Sword Aura Rampage. Your stagger tools, such as Blade Toss or Rage Burst, fit into your burst windows when available. Use Wrath Wave to open large fights or turn the tide in group PvP, and always chain Life Stealing Blade after a successful knockdown for maximum healing. When you get CC'd or knocked down, instantly activate Defiance, then chain into Wrath Burst to knock your opponents down instead, which flips the momentum straight back in your favor. Efficient cooldown cycling, smart repositioning, and timing your burst during CC windows are what make this rotation deadly across all content. This setup is built entirely around overwhelming ranged pressure, stacking control, and constant spell flow that lets you dictate fights before the enemy even reaches you. Unlike melee or hybrid classes that rely on positioning within close quarters, the Sorcerer dominates through distance, zone manipulation, and stacking burst windows with devastating precision. This build is crafted for PvX performance, meaning you'll feel strong clearing open world mobs, shredding bosses from a safe range in PvE, and absolutely punishing players in PvP when they make even the smallest mistake. The Sorcerer thrives by keeping momentum while never letting opponents reclaim tempo. Every fight starts with controlled spacing. Every cast is aligned with your slow effects or crowd control windows, and every rotation combines together long-range damage, movement management, and MP efficiency. In PvE, the Sorcerer's ability to melt packs with sweeping spells while freezing or staggering elite targets makes it incredibly consistent at both solo and group play. Your active skills form the backbone of this playstyle, and the Sorcerer's kit is defined by distance control, elemental combos, and heavy front-loaded damage. Frost Shot and Frost Chains are your primary slow effect tools, allowing you to keep enemies at the edge of your optimal casting range. Frost Shot is your bread and butter opener, applying a reliable slow and setting the pace of every engagement. Once that slow lands, Frost Chains tightens the noose by layering an additional movement debuff, which gives you a perfect window to start combining in high damage casts. Fireball and Meteor Blast form the core of your burst chain. Fireball acts as your consistent, single-target pressure tool. It's fast, direct, and perfect for using between control abilities. Meteor Blast, on the other hand, is your high-damage finisher, which is ideal for punishing staggered enemies or capitalizing on debuff windows created by your elemental skills. When paired with lightning abilities like Thunderstrike or Lightning Burst, you gain access to staggering mechanics that temporarily lock enemies in place, which lets you land uninterrupted high-value nukes. For gear, we're focusing around maximizing magical attack, critical damage, penetration, and casting speed. A top-tier staff or tome like the Arcanist's Focus Staff gives you a strong baseline of magical attack, while offering valuable secondary stats such as increased spell crit and mana recovery. Enhancement bonuses amplify your burst consistency, while Mana Stone slots allow fine-tuning with magic attack, penetration, and crit stones. Armor should support casting speed and magical penetration wherever possible. Cloth sets with innate boost to elemental damage or MP efficiency pair extremely well with the Sorcerer's rotation. Accessories play a vital role too. Rings and necklaces that increase crit damage or elemental boosting dramatically magnify your finishing power during Meteor Blast or Burning Comet windows. Set bonuses often grant additional casting speed or elemental damage, which sync directly with your playstyle. The goal is simple. Your gear should let you cast faster, hit harder, and maintain your spell flow without running out of MP. Small increases in penetration and crit damage result in massive breakpoints during burst combos, especially when targets are immobilized or staggered. Divanian Board focuses on enhancing your signature elemental spells, reducing cooldowns, and deepening your control capabilities. Fireball and Meteor Blast upgrades should come first, improving their damage, crit scaling, and cast speed. These improvements turn your burst combos into lethal threats, especially when lined up with freeze or stagger effects. Frost Shot and Frost Chain upgrades are next, as extending slow duration and boosting damage against impaired targets directly increases your survivability and control over engagements. AoE upgrades for Flame Nova and Ice Pulse help with mob clearing and dungeon flow, smoothing your overall rotation and giving you more flexibility in group scenarios. You want lightning upgrades that enhance stagger duration or reduce cooldowns, as they increase the reliability of your stun windows, allowing you to chain your highest damage spells with perfect timing. Mobility enhancements to Blink or Arcane Step grant faster repositioning, tighter spacing control, and extra survivability. The guiding principle is simple. Upgrade what reinforces your rotation flow. So damage first, control second, and mobility third. Every selected node should directly improve the consistency and impact of your elemental rhythm. And finally, let's see how to actually play this build. We want to begin with establishing control through Frost Shot, applying the initial slow and dictating spacing. Immediately follow with Frost Chains to deepen the movement debuff, ensuring your target cannot close the gap. Once the slow is secured, you begin by using Fireball pressure, while repositioning to maintain your ideal casting distance. When your enemy enters the stagger or freeze window, which is triggered by Lightning Burst, Thunderstrike, or Frost Prison, you unload your highest damage spells. Meteor Blast, Burning Comet, and Flame Nova become devastating during this window. often forcing enemies into panic defensives or outright securing kills. In PvE, this same rotation applies. So with AoE spells inserted during mob pulls and freezes used to control elites, we want to maintain MP flow by combining basic spells during downtime, and use Blink to adjust your distance whenever enemies attempt to flank or collapse onto you. The key is constant rhythm, so we slow, reposition, pressure, and then finish with burst. Every cast keeps the tempo high, every control tool creates another window, and every burst combo punishes the moment an enemy loses footing.